Hi everyone, my name is Erik Adler, and yesterday I saw the new Blade Runner movie at the local theater here in Munich, Blade Runner 2049. It premiered yesterday here in Germany, and I am actually not a fan of the original Blade Runner movie from 1982 with Harrison Ford. I thought it was visually stunning, of course. It's a very beautiful movie, very good looking, very atmospheric, but I always had problems with the idea of the replicants being physical beings created by humans, being extremely intelligent for some reason, and then simply being used as slave laborers in outer space in mining colonies and similar things. It was very strange, and the story in the original Blade Runner movie is also fairly simplistic, I think, and there's also not very much character acting. But how is the new movie? I am very happy to say I loved it. I think it is much better than the original, which of course is very uncommon, that a sequel is better or even much better than the original movie. We almost never see that, and I think Denis Villeneuve, who was the director, made a terrific job in this one. I also liked his movie Arrival, which was philosophical and very atmospheric, but this one I thought was much more interesting. It had much more depth to it. It looks fantastic. They managed to preserve what was good actually in the first Blade Runner movie, the fantastic cinematography, the atmosphere, and so on, into this one. This one I think is even darker than the first one, which says a lot because the first one was really dark. But there are a few really interesting things in this movie. You have a very interesting relationship between a replicant and a hologram from a computer, and they have a love relationship, which is very interesting. It echoes an earlier movie called Her, actually, about a man falling in love with his operating system, and they have a relationship, and this operating system is played by Scarlett Johansson, the voice. It's a beautiful movie, Her, but I think they made it even better in Blade Runner 2049, this topic about the love between, in this case, a replicant who is not even a real human and a hologram from a computer. It was very interesting. What I also liked with the movie was the relationship between the main character, Kay, played by Ryan Gosling, who is the Blade Runner in the movie, and Harrison Ford, who plays Rick Deckard again, the Blade Runner from the first movie. When they came together and started talking, it was very interesting. It was a short scene, but I absolutely loved it. It could have been longer, they could have been talking longer, it would have been very interesting, but what we got I really loved. There are a few weaknesses with the movie, I would say, and the first one is the basic weakness that you have in most Hollywood productions, unfortunately, namely the villains. The villains are not very interesting in the movie. One of them is played by Jared Leto, and he's also not very present in the movie, and when he's in there he's just looking viciously, and it's very dark, you can hardly see his face, and he says a few threatening things, and that's it. You don't learn anything at all about his personality, and the same is true also for the female villain in the movie, who has much more screen time, and he's fighting a lot. She's a good fighter with martial arts and so on, but you don't learn anything about her. So this is one of the weaknesses I would say with the movie. Another one is that there are a few loose ends. For example, we learn in the movie that the replicants on Earth are planning a kind of revolt against the humans, but this is just briefly talked about and then nothing happens. Perhaps something will happen in a future film. I would guess that they may do another sequel where they continue with this story, but it turns into nothing in this movie, and this is one example out of 2 or 3 where you learn a few things and you expect something to happen and then nothing comes out of it. But except for these weaknesses, I loved the movie. As I said, it looks absolutely gorgeous. You have really interesting relationships, which is something I love in movies. You have philosophical questions coming up, which leaves you thinking about these things when you leave the theater. You have good acting, and I was very pleased to see this movie because Hollywood produces so much crap, and also in the science fiction genre, I must say. But this is a really good movie, a character movie, and an extremely aesthetic movie, which I can recommend absolutely to anyone, not just to the hardcore Blade Runner fans. I think they are going to love this one. It is a very long movie. It's 163 minutes long, but it feels short because it's so atmospheric and so exciting and interesting and gorgeous to watch, so you don't really notice these 163 minutes. They fly by, they pass very quickly. So these were my thoughts about Blade Runner 2049. Just go out and see this movie if you haven't seen it yet. Please do. I think most of you are going to love it. So please leave me your comments below what you thought about Blade Runner 2049 if you saw it. Perhaps what you thought about the first Blade Runner movie. You are welcome to compare these, and you're welcome of course to subscribe to this channel, to give me a thumbs up if you like this presentation, and I hope to talk to you soon again.